My name is Ben. I'm working for LightOn, which is a French company who's developing large language models. The funny thing is, I jumped to LightOn 2 weeks before OpenAI launched ChatGPT. And since this day, I'm using this technology every day. And I don't know how you could work without. But when I'm talking to my friend, we're not working in this area, I say, why are you using it? I don't need it. It's really not relevant for me. I'm in service and it's okay, I know my business. But if you are working, you may have email, minutes meeting after meetings. Every time you are sending something, writing something, you can use this technology. And now, as I say, I don't know how it can work without. So first of all, I won't go too deep on that because we already talked a lot, but obviously the first thing is how this technology can improve the customer experience. Many clients now are expecting to get something very specific to their own concern. Now, if I'm going to your website, you have always the same product description. But let's imagine if you are doing like Netflix is doing for their movie, as Roxanne explained. We may have a very specific description depending on your user profile, skin, age, area. That's something very can change the experience of your clients. I show here different companies in your market that are currently using it. So it really seems that the market is moving. And as Laurent is saying, it's not only your market. Every market is moving on this area. This was just to show you that it's not something like, it's coming, it's real. You can go to their website, to Sephora, and see that there is now a chatbot built on ChatGPT and feel the experience that it can offer to your clients. That's for external purpose, but you can also imagine it can be really useful for your own, for your productivity. So let's imagine you have to analyze all your user feedback. You can have feedback on Google, maybe by email, maybe on your ticketing, whatever in the shop you have. So how you can generate, automatically identify and classify them in 3 categories: positive, negative, neutral, and build a report that explains you in which direction you should improve your experience, your product, whatever. We can do that in an hour using maybe more than 500,000 user feedback. So it's a big changing in time consuming for you. Same thing for translation. You have a website in many languages. So each time you are pushing a new version, a new page, a new product, you need to translate it to different languages. That can be automatized by this technology. And we have something, I think, clearly made by Accenture. They estimate that 40% of working hours can be impacted. Most of my friends, when I'm talking that, say, I won't be replaced. I don't want to be replaced. I'm afraid to be replaced. The goal is not that. It would be 2 types of people. The one who know how to use this technology and people who don't know. And this type of people, they will be much more in risk than the other. Same people as imagine today if people are saying, I'm a very good marketer, but I don't know how to use a computer. You won't find any job anymore. So it's really something to take in account. You have to jump on this technology to see how it works and not be somewhere like not feeling the next future. So a model, I'm talking in my concern only on model based on text. So I'm not talking about images, I'm not talking about videos, but for LLM dedicated to text, you can summarize content, like if you want to have a report on a big document. Of course, you have all the conversational agent, all the chatbot. You can analyze text if you want to find some keywords on some text. It can be helpful for brainstorming with idea generation, like, okay, I want to, help me to find a good post for LinkedIn. I have no idea for the moment. It can help you for that. Q&A is one of the most popular use cases that our clients are asking. Q&A is question and answering. So you may have a big amount of data in your own company in different areas. So let's say you want to ask a question about what is the strategy for this year about AI. So you can use this documentation, ask a simple question and get directly the answer without looking for a different document. So we have also paraphrasing, translation, as I just said before, copywriting, and test to code more for developers. This is many opportunities, but we also talk about many challenges. So we talk a lot about data privacy. For sure, when you're using such a technology, you need context. It's the same thing when you're talking to someone and sharing a task. If you're asking to someone, please send an email to these clients for that, you need to explain which clients, for what is the strategy. And it's exactly the same thing with all this technology. So when you're using it, you have to think, okay, this data, is it public, so I'm not very afraid to share it? Or is it really sensitive and I need to take care of that? Second thing is a complex technology. It's not that easy to use it. There is some new job coming, like prompt engineer, like people knows how to ask a question to this technology, and it really affects the answers you will get. Third one is the infrastructures. You can deploy this technology in your own infra, or you can use like a SaaS from Salesforce, or even you can use directly a public API. Depending on your privacy, depending on the use case you are selecting, you have to think about which infrastructure. This technology, it's a big baby. You can't put it in any type of server. You need very specific server, big one, like very early access. Okay, let's move to 3 use cases. But before, I just want to explain you step by step what is behind an application made by generative AI. First of all, again, data. You need to define which data you want to plug, which data you want to share. If we're thinking about a product description, we can maybe think to check all existing product description you have and you think are good. You can share it to the model to teach him, okay, this is for me a good product description. But you can maybe also use some analytics data. Okay, so we have thousands of products, thousands of product description. Which one are generating more conversion on the website? It can also be some data really useful for the model to have some guidelines. After that, you have a second step. We already talked about prompt. It's kind of requirement. How do you effectively ask the question to the model? We have a lot of clients. Currently, most of them, they don't know how to use it. It's really something that you have to learn. It's like some people don't know how to search on Google. Maybe most of the people now know it, but it's still some people don't know how to search on it. It's not enough to just say, generate a product description for Shiseido product. This is definitely not enough. You have to share some success criteria. I want this type of length. I want this type of introduction. I want this type of keywords. Really, you have to share something that the model can understand. And even if you made one prompt and you have a good result on one product, okay, but let's imagine you test it on 1,000 products and you have to evaluate if it's working for all of them to avoid hallucination and stuff like that. Third step, it's building the apps. You need to understand that behind an apps, you have different workflow and different steps. Let's say you want, for example, to improve your search box on your website. Each time a user will have to ask a question, then maybe you're going to have to do what we call embedding. It's to check on your data, transform this data in figures to compare to the initial question. Then you will find which data is relevant to the initial question of the user. Second steps, you have to generate the product description adapted to the client. If he's asking for something specific, you may adapt it. And third, you may maybe translate it. If the initial question was in Japanese, but all the data was in English, at the end you should push a Japanese answer. So you can see that there is a lot of layer before to generate the answer, the final answer. Fourth, monitoring. When you're pushing in production the app, that's the key is to track all user feedback. It can be expressive user feedback as I don't like the answer. It can be subjective feedback, such as the user purchased the product, the user, if it's internally copy-paste the content of the product description, it seems that it's a good one. Or it can be very what we call business KPI related to analytics. Same thing, if you are sending an email, have been generated by generative AI, it can be very interesting to use all the analytics that you collect to see, okay, this email generates more conversion than this one. Last thing is the training. Currently, if you are using ChatGPT, it's a big model, but it's one model for all. It's not adapted to specifically Shiseido. If you want to really build your own model adapted to your own rules, you may need to fine-tune, train a new version of an existing model. And in this step, it's really important to have a lot of data collected for user feedback. Then you can train the model and say, okay, for me, a good product description is this one and not this one. We move directly to the use cases. So this an example of a product description currently available on your website. So this is a new one that can be made automatically by the generative AI, which is much deeper, much specific with different type. This is one blocked, but we can of course adapt it depending on the profile of the user. Second example is SEO content. You can automatize SEO content very quickly, saying that, okay, we embed all the SEO rules that are well known, and each time I'm asking to build a new blog post, a new article, a new even product description, okay, please use these guidelines to respect and have the best results on the search engine. Last one is on QA. So I went to the UK website and I asked a question that some client can ask. Which Shiseido products are best for my combination of skin and acne? Currently, when I'm asking that, I have a strange answer. First of all, the product show is not what I'm asking. And there is nothing to explain me why this product have been displayed, have been selected by the engine. Let's imagine you are using now generative AI and you're asking the same question. First of all, you can really have a better results because you will be able to check on all your data, all the content product description you have, and see where the word acne is available. And on the right side, you can display a short description really adapted to the initial question. So if I was asking to another question, then for the same product, I can have a different presentation. So that's really changing the game to involve the client to buying the product. To finish, thank you again for the invitation. I took 10 minutes of your life. Time is king. In 10 minutes, I could produce 1,000 product descriptions. So this new market is going very fast. You have new things coming every day. It's hard to follow, but you can stay on side. My opinion, you have to move on, even if there is some risk and some challenges to address. To finalize, just to let you know what we are doing at LightOn, we are building a product called Paradigm, which is a platform dedicated to generative AI. We are agnostic in infrastructure, agnostic on any model you want to use, but we are sure that any company that wants to integrate generative AI in their product workflow, they will face the same issues that we face since 2 years. That's it. We hope it was interesting for you. Thank you very much.